We are so back. That's right. Fandom United, a blockbuster podcast. It is myself, Mr. Gio Ramos, aka Insider Gio, with Jacob Bartley here at Jacob Bartley 824. It's been a while, man. A few weeks since we've had the opportunity to podcast, man. How are you? It's good to see you, bud.
I'm doing good, man. It feels like we haven't podcasted in a month. I thought it was like 4 weeks straight, but it could have been two weeks.
Yeah.
But
we're back.
Doing well, man. I was able to head down to Palm Springs on a work trip, and
Palm Springs. Okay, is it as nice as it sounds? Like, or is like the movie Palm Springs?
So, yeah, it's interesting because I actually kind of grew up in a town right outside of Palm Springs, but like they're all like, it's basically like El Grove to Sacramento kind of thing. Like, it's all the same city. Like they call that whole area Palm Springs, but Palm Springs, the actual city of Palm Springs is very vacation site. It's very calm there. Like when you're driving down the street, you don't feel rushed. Just like
it's not like big city.
When you go to the grocery store, everyone's not like in a hurry and like walking right behind you really fast. There's great customer service everywhere you go. And I think that's partially due to like they're used to elderly people vacationing there. So I enjoyed it. I was able to take my lady Kylie with me, so it worked. It was a work trip, but like kind of like a vacation. So it was a lot of fun, and just been chilling, watching movies and stuff, watching TV.
Yeah, we'll get into what you've been talking, man, or watching. I definitely want to hear about that. And, some of the things that we're going to talk about on this episode is obviously Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Big movie out in theaters right now. I got a chance to watch it. Jacob saw it. And hopefully if Keith Barnes is able to make it, he'll share his thoughts as well. And on the small screen, there's a ton of content on right now. I mean, just the biggest one being X-Men 97 for people within our, geek sphere, what I'll call it. And, but as for me, I am just finally getting over a nasty cold. There is something going around out there, man. I mean, it's a combination of allergies and people just getting sick. I have this gnarly cough that I cannot get rid of. So if you see me sipping something, it's tea and honey. So that way I can, get on tonight and, do a live stream with my buddy. And, it being 2 weeks since our last one, I was like, we're going to do this. Okay. We're going to button up. Okay. Take your medicine, get your cough drops, get your tea with honey in it, and do a show. Just get on there and talk, man. I missed you, buddy. I haven't seen you in a while. And so, this is one of our, few opportunities to jump on, every week and just have a conversation. And we're not alone. Booze, I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. And Star Drew, how you doing, man?
Hi, Star Drew.
Yeah, real quick, I know our buddies, Jake and Brian, at a certain point of view, they just had their last episode, final episode. And so I just want to take a moment and once I've texted them individually, but give them their flowers. They were able to, create something on their own and, rode with it and, had a blast doing it, which is, priority number one, have fun with what you're doing. But if you're able to also build a little community of your own and, build some friendships out of it like we did at Apocalypse Movies, then, props to you. So congratulations, gents, as well as Molly and Jill. And I wish you all the best of luck. And I'm sure we'll see Jake and Brian on here at some point.
Yeah. I don't think they're done in their YouTube presence.
No, not at all. Jake is busy doing TikTok reels, little short videos, which he's great at. And I'm sure we'll see Brian around. Dude has so much knowledge. It would be ashamed if he didn't, do something or at least be featured, in my opinion, somewhere. So while we wait for Keith, because we want to have him along for the discussion of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, let's get into some big news that dropped while we were away. This is a character that, for me, Jacob, I didn't think we'd see this early, but Marvel is not wasting any time. They are not pulling any punches. They have officially casted one of Marvel's biggest villains in their entire lore in Galactus. Yeah, literally. And it's an actor by the name of, and excuse me if I mispronounce it, Ralph Ineson.
I believe it's Innocent, but I'm not sure.
Ineson. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I apologize once again. But there he is. He will be the Galactus for the MCU. And the one thing I heard a lot of people talk about, Jacob, was his voice and how distinct his voice is and how it's perfect for a role like Galactus. So what I want to do real quick before I get your thoughts is I'm going to eliminate this overlay and I'm going to play a quick clip of him talking. Maybe you've seen this before, maybe you haven't, but either way, for the sake of this conversation, let's listen in and hear this guy's voice and see if we can see Galactus.
Because I play the character Dagmar Cleftjaw, and in the books he's called Cleftjaw because he's had an axe split his face in half in battle. And when we did the TV show, I just had a very butch scar, like a kind of action man.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That is definitely a voice, man. And obviously, there's going to be a heavy amount of visual effects. If you want to get comic accurate with the character, obviously you can do some practical, but it's going to be a lot of what I would imagine what Andy Serkis did for the Snow character, and how larger than life that character was. But I want to get your thoughts on this, man. First off, this is confirmation. They're giving us Galactus. Okay, we kind of had the hint with a female Silver Surfer, but he's coming in the first movie, man. What do you think?
I had a feeling Galactus was going to be in this. I mean, as it did most fans, but yeah, it's two pieces of news really, that Galactus is in the movie and that in the casting as well. And I'm slightly familiar with him. I've seen him in a few things. Very recognizable face. The one thing I do remember him from is the Witch, or the Vitch, I should say. Yeah. He was, I believe he was the dad in the Witch. And seen him in a few other things here and there, but I'm not too familiar with his work. And I had heard his voice before, obviously, but hearing that reminder, that clip you played, I think for Galactus, voice is very important. And just like I think Josh Brolin has a great voice, and
Josh Brolin does, yeah, he was great as Thanos.
He was given Thanos, and I think Thanos is the template here when we're talking about characters like Thanos, like Galactus, and like Apocalypse. Which, I don't know. We heard the rumor last week that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson might be in the running to play Apocalypse. In the MCU, which I would also be 100% for that. I think that's a perfect role for him. But as far as Ralph Ineson as Galactus, I'm down for it because voice is the most important thing. He's gonna be, CGI,
devours worlds.
CGI. I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to have a human form of himself. Because the thing is, like, you can't just have if he's gonna be like a compelling villain in the universe where he's interacting with characters and he has some sort of depth to him, he can't just be a huge giant figure in space. He has to. So I wouldn't be surprised if the MCU version of Galactus is able to have like a humanoid version of himself. And if this actor is the one doing it, totally down for that. So I cannot wait for this Fantastic Four movie. There's so many castings being announced for this movie. Like I feel like every day there's a new role or actor announced for this movie. Some that we know who they're playing, and some who we don't know who they're playing, which is very exciting. But yeah, this is like heavily like becoming one of my most anticipated projects in the next few years.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe John Malkovich was announced.
Yes, John Malkovich, Paul Walter Hauser.
Yes.
And what's her name? The one from Russian Doll and Orange is the New Black. They just announced it today or yesterday.
Natasha.
Yes, Leon. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So her. Yeah. It's a stacked cast, and I'm curious to see who they're playing. All three of those actors, we don't know who they're playing. And I don't think we've got the Doom casting yet. And we don't even know. It's possible that just Victor Von Doom is in this movie and he's not Dr. Doom yet.
Right.
I think Dr. Doom's going to be in this movie. So whether it's like a surprise in the film, like what if they announce the casting in the movie? It's like a surprise cameo, and it's X actor. You know who I want to play Dr. Doom? Which
what if they Don Cheadled it?
For me, like my dream casting is Leonardo DiCaprio, because he obviously has stayed away from the comic book genre, but he needs a role that's like going to make a huge impact, and that's one. And also his age-wise, it matched. I think he has to be a contemporary of Reed Richards and Pedro Pascal, so they're about the same age, so it rounds up perfectly. I just wouldn't be surprised if doesn't have to be Leo, but whoever plays him, they're in the movie. It's a surprise, like Victor Von Doom shows up just in a scene or something. It'd be really cool.
If they got Leo DiCaprio as Victor Von Doom, that would that would be in the Mount Rushmore of what Kevin Feige has accomplished in the MCU. Getting Leo DiCaprio to sign on, because it's not just a one-picture deal, and it has to be a role that he can really chew into. One
Absolutely.
that he can take to certain places.
I think if it's an actor like that, I think they'll do a Doctor Doom movie at some point.
They have to.
Yeah.
They would have to. But I think they're saving him for a reason. But it wouldn't surprise me if, he at least makes an appearance, pre-Doom form.
He's arguably one of the biggest characters. Like once Victor Von Doom comes into the MCU, he's going to be a major, major figure in the MCU.
Oh yeah, they're not going to sideline him for a few movies or something like that. He's going to have, even if he's not in the MCU movies, you're going to feel his presence.
Yeah, I think he'll have and look, I don't want every villain to be an anti-hero, but I think he'll have a Loki type arc, but he's not going to become as good as Loki has became. I think it'll actually go the opposite direction. He'll be decent at first, and then he'll just keep getting worse. Possibly.
Yeah, turning into that, big time threat that he's become.
Yeah, because I haven't read a ton of comics, but from what I know, especially watching him into cartoons and stuff as well, like in Avengers cartoons, he, depending on where he's at in his you know, at some point he becomes a sorcerer and he's studying magic and stuff. So like at that point he's an Avengers level threat. Like he's basically like the main villain in the universe at certain points. So they could get there with him for sure.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how quickly they decided to throw Galactus into this movie, but it kind of proves a theory that a lot of people have and rumors surrounding this movie that the Fantastic Four are going to lose. Their world is going to be destroyed. And if you remember back to that poster with Johnny Storm flying, and I think it was Happy 4 Day, like it was last month, and the whole silhouette of the city was like futuristic, like think like the Jetsons, you know.
Yeah.
And so the theory was the Fantastic Four are going to lose. Galactus will end up destroying that world, and the Fantastic Four will be thrown into the sacred timeline, the main timeline that's present in the Marvel movies. I'm starting to believe that. I mean, why else would you put Galactus in this movie this early? You know, and you can get away with that because, you know, he could win in this movie, kind of like an Infinity War type of situation.
Yeah.
And then he could be a looming threat in the MCU. Like Galactus is on the way, you know, and hopefully, I don't think they'll sideline a character like Galactus as long as they have, like, you remember Dormammu in Doctor Strange Part 1? You know, and like whatever happened to him, you know, I'm sure he's out there. Maybe we'll get answers in the third Doctor Strange movie, you know, because that second movie, Multiverse of Madness, left off in a cliffhanger when Charlize Theron showed up at the end and cut into the reality and said, you got to fix this incursion that happened. So that could be something right there. But as far as the casting goes, I mean, clearly a talented actor, has a very unique voice. And, you know, I'll even throw James Spader into that conversation as Ultron.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, what he was able to bring, you know, and how menacing he was at times for a character like Ultron. And yeah, I think it's going to be freaking awesome. I think Marvel knows the importance of this movie and how much, you know, it means to the fans. I mean, Marvel's first family, and you know, we'll see what happens, dude. I mean, this is going to be almost like an event type of movie because of the characters. You know, I mean, it's one thing to have a solo movie where you just have one of the lower tier villains for that hero or heroes, but you're throwing Galactus in there. Like, what's going to happen in this movie? You know, it's going to be, you know, you say world shattering. How about universe shattering? Jesus, it's going to be crazy.
I mean, it has to be something like that because he's not, and it's not going to be like how he was portrayed in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Not at all. Is he going to be?
I don't remember that.
He was like a cloud floating.
Like a cloud, yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna
the mid 2000s, man. Oh
yeah, I think he's gonna be pretty comic accurate as much as they can be, but also, like I said, he's gonna have different forms, I believe.
Yeah, and I was reading something that said like humans will see him as humanoid, but then the Skrulls could see him as like a Skrullian, I think is what they call. So like he could take on different forms. We'll see if they go that route. That's a lot of, you need a hefty VFX budget for that. But yeah, see, Stardew was a tornado in space, so terrible.
Yeah,
yes, he was. Yeah. All right. Well, those are our thoughts on Ralph Ineson as the new Galactus for Fantastic Four. Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the chat. Let's jump from Marvel to DC while we wait for Keith. And guys, we got our first look at the full suit for Superman The James Gunn movie coming out in 2025. Let me share the screen here and bring this up right now. This is our first look at actor David Corenswet as Superman. And interesting photo to start it off with. That's clearly Superman taking his time putting on his outfit right there while looks like all hell's breaking loose in Metropolis. Fans pointed out that directly beneath the flying alien eyeball is Lex Luthor Towers right there. There may be a shot of the Daily Planet where Lois Lane and Clark Kent works. But this image right here gives us a number of answers. One, we saw a close-up of the Superman logo, and it is, in fact, going to be that same logo reminiscent of Kingdom Come. Two, if you look closely at Superman's crotch area, you're going to see red trunks with a yellow belt. And that tells us that this Superman is, in fact, going to have red trunks. And three, the costume, while simple, it may not be as detailed as Henry Cavill's in the DCEU, is very much going to be the same exact colors. Why wouldn't they be? But it's a little more lighter of a tone of the Superman suit that we've seen in recent years. And he's got the spit curl right there. So there it is, Jacob. That's our first look at David Corenswet in the Superman outfit. What do you think? Honestly,
at first I wasn't too impressed by the suit itself. I like his look and his demeanor, to be honest. He looks like worn out, but he still has to, like, well, I'm worn out, but I got to go handle business. And isn't that how we all feel sometimes? So it kind of makes Superman relatable. So I like that element. But the suit itself, at first I was a little torn, but I've grown to like it because this is from a few weeks ago, right? So it's grown on me a little bit. I don't know if this is good or bad, but it kind of feels like Homelander. Obviously, Homelander was inspired by Superman in the first place. So, like, Homelander's suit is inspired by Superman, but kind of reminds me of Homelander from The Boys a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially with, I believe his collar's a little higher than previous iterations, like recent iterations that we got. I also don't think this is like an official scene in the movie. I think they just put out this image just to, like, give a feel. Like, I don't think that that's actually going on in the background in the movie, and he's just taking his time putting his boot on. If that was going on, something like that was going on in the background, he would have already been out the window. Like, I mean, he can move almost as fast as the Flash, right? Or if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or who won that race in the comics? I forget. So, like, I think this is just an image to put out an image sake. Like, I don't think this is a still from a scene in the movie, but all things, everything else considered, I like the suit. It works for me. Superman, that looks like Superman. And obviously it has to be a little unique. It has to be its own thing. So it has that as well. So I like it. I mean, I am 2025 is going to be a great year for movies, because a lot of the movies that were delayed during those COVID years are coming out in 2025. And we get Superman and Fantastic Four right around the same time. Mm-hmm. And that's what a beautiful, like, time for a comic book movie fan. It's like two franchises. Well, you and I love Man of Steel, and we love Henry Cavill as Superman. And
love Man of Steel.
If any iteration of Superman surpasses that for me, then we have two amazing Supermans. But so like it's just, and then Fantastic Four as well. You know, franchises where people are, you know, they need a hit. So this movie needs to be a hit. Fantastic Four needs to be a hit, or else, you know, both of those properties are in trouble. And so yeah, it looks good. Very much looking forward to it. I'm honestly, let me ask you this. I mean, I think I know your answer, but which one are you more excited for? This movie or Fantastic Four?
I'm more excited for Fantastic Four because, I mean, just that's a introduction that we've been waiting on.
Well, and we've had great Superman movies, so, and we haven't had a great Fantastic Four movie, so
yeah. This movie is. I'm talking about Superman. This movie is going to have so much to deliver on, and it only feels right that James Gunn is delivering it because it's essentially his universe, and he has a proven track record. It's clearly going to be a different take than, you know, what we have come to expect over the past decade with Henry Cavill's Superman. You know, his story arc was more of one of deconstruction, you know, really getting into the bones of the character. Whereas this one, I think it's going to be more of what longtime Superman fans have come to love and expect of their character on the big screen. I mean, just if any reason, just, I mean, you're getting one of the more common, accurately comic book portrayals in the outfit, you know, with the red trunks. That's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, and to be fair, I didn't mention.
Yeah,
I prefer no red trunks because you can't really see it. So like, it's not very prominent for me. But like, let's say he's standing up, I don't know how I would feel about the red trunks. I would personally go no red trunks. It looks so silly to me. Like I was watching Cyclops in X-Men 97. He has yellow trunks. That would never work in live action. It looks ridiculous. So they should get rid of the red trunks in live action.
I'm afraid of what red trunks on Superman is going to do for the general audiences and their perception of Superman. Like, are they going to laugh? I mean, it's just
silly.
Is this going to be a popular Halloween costume? Maybe for kids. And at the end of the day, I guess that's what these movies are for, right? They're for kids. I mean, let's be honest, you know. I mean, it is what it is, you know. That's why you seldomly ever see these comic book movies ever go into that area of like Demon in a Bottle, where like it's really like disturbing stuff, or even like, you know, Netflix Daredevil, that kind of thing. So
I just think they have to be kid friendly because
it's money. Because it's money. That's the reason why, you know. But the outfit's gonna take some getting used to. You know, David Cornsweet, if you haven't seen any photos of him on social media, he's ripped. He's jacked. But that outfit right there, at least this image, doesn't do his hard. It doesn't do any favors. Like it doesn't show off like the physique, like Henry Cavill's outfit did. You know, I'm sure we'll see some shirtless shots in the movie. So, you know, he'll get his time to shine and show off his hard work, you know. Let's remember, this is a movie that's going to be set in an already established DC universe where superheroes do exist and are known.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as that eyeball right there, if we are to take anything away and what could be, we still don't know who the like we know Lex Luthor will be in the movie, and he'll be a antagonist, but like who's gonna be the bronze to the brain? And well, I mean, it could be Brainiac. That's a
I
popular.
think it's gonna be the so one of the characters from the Authority is in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's the woman, one of the woman characters from
Yeah.
the Authority. I believe she's cast and officially confirmed to be in the film. I think she might be the villain. If I had to guess from everything that we've seen so far,
Yeah.
I mean, Lex is gonna be in the movie, but I think Lex is a character that is gonna always be around.
Yeah.
He's so. But for this movie, I think that character could be the villain here. And
Yeah.
I do think they're going to set up like Justice League versus the Authority. I mean, we talked about that when they announced the Authority movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that could be a possibility. And look, this movie is going to work for so many people. This outfit works for so many people. It's their it's a suit that they've been wanting for a long time. So if you're that person, bravo. I'm happy for you. I've had my Superman, and I really hope that this one, becomes one that I am really invested in, and a universe that I could jump on board. Hopefully the studio, has learned their lessons from previous regimes and doesn't do the thing that movie studios are so notorious for. Taking over and putting profits and money and run times over story and character and universe building, things like that. So we'll see. James Gunn, this is a very important project to him. He talked about, how this movie, relates to his relationship with his father and, the importance of that. And so I'm sure we'll see some heavy moments with Clark Kent and Pa Kent. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, just bring me the trailer. Bring me the trailer so I can, have a better idea of this movie and, form, I guess, a better opinion with some conviction on it. I'm very much wait and see. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be. Look, I think some people's worries is they're gonna go back to like Boy Scout Superman, trying to recreate the Christopher Reeve Superman. I don't think so at all. I think there will be hints of that, but look at James Gunn, like his style and his. I mean, he's not going to go full James Gunn with this. He knows Superman has to be treated in a different way than you treat the Guardians and Suicide Squad, right? It just is what it is. Like there will be that James Gunn touch to it, and I think he's going to do that with other characters around Superman. But I think he's going to treat Superman like very seriously. I think he's going to have a optimistic outlook on things, like the Superman character will. But he's not going to be like, oh shucks, let's go save the world, guys. Like he's not going to be like that. He's not going to be cheesy, a type of optimism. It's going to be more of a I don't want to compare Marvel to DC and stuff, but like more of a Captain America kind of optimism on life before Shield, before Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Superman arrives a little more than a year from now, July 2025. So we'll see what happens. But we just got confirmation Keith will not be on tonight. Sorry, pal. But let's get into the discussion of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This will be a spoiler discussion here between myself and Jacob Bartley. And so if you have not seen the movie, you can still stick around if you're on the fence of it. We'll try to keep a non-spoiler early on, but I very much want to get into some of the things that happen in this movie, and where it could lead to, especially after they announced their intention of doing a 9-film saga, with this being the 4th movie. So they got some big plans for this franchise, and it seems to be doing well at the box office. It had a $160 million budget, and I think it grossed that much worldwide on its first week. So, congratulations. And let's get into it, Jacob. This is the 4th installment in a franchise that we thought was perfect the way it was, a trilogy. You had Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes, with the last 2 being directed by Matt Reeves of the Batman, and the first one being directed by, I believe, Rupert Wyatt, who directed the first one. And it's one of the more underrated trilogies, in the sense that when people think of greatest trilogies, like, it takes them a while, at least from the conversations I've listened to, and I've listened to a number of them, until they get to the Apes trilogy. As far as the story arc goes, Caesar's arc is one of the best in cinema history, in my opinion. And then all of a sudden, we got an announcement of a 4th movie coming that'll be set in the universe. And this one takes place, as the movie says, generations after the death of Caesar. And so it's all new characters, a whole new cast. The apes have officially taken over. They are the dominant species. Humans are very few and far away. I think for the most part, there's only one human character, and then there's like a second one who gets introduced briefly, we'll say, in the movie. But Jacob, what are your thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and this 4th installment? Like, how was it for you coming out of the theater?
Yeah, I think just going off what you said about the franchise as a whole, like since the Caesar story has started, I'm actually one of most people, like, they say the second one's the best. That Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the best. Yeah. I actually believe the first one is the best, and that's just my opinion, because I'm a huge James Franco fan, but also I love seeing the down, like, how humanity caused this, and the downfall of that, and the apes kind of uprising. And I love seeing that, and I absolutely love that movie. And seeing, one of the best things about that trilogy is how how Caesar loves humans. He loves how he was treated by humans, and they're important to him. And they talk about that in this movie. I mean, obviously he knows there's bad humans, for sure, just like there's bad apes, which we see in Dawn. But for me, I'm a big Rise of the Planet of the Apes guys. Rise of the Planet of the Apes guy.
And Jacob, real quick, I've so many people on social media bring up that moment in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I don't know if you were in the theaters when you saw it, when Caesar rises and tells Draco Malfoy, "No!"
Oh yeah,
I remember being in theaters and seeing that moment, and just how everybody in the theater was like stunned. And it's one of the most memorable theatrical experiences I'll ever have. Man, dude,
that was a big moment. Yeah, I absolutely love that one. And it kind of shows how where kind of Caesar's ideals come from, in a way. And yeah, so but obviously Dawn is great. War is, I think, the weakest of the three, but still good. And I think War is the reason why it's not automatically mentioned in the best trilogies. I think people were torn on that movie because it was supposed to be, it's literally called War for the Planet of the Apes, and there's not much war going on in it. Like we thought we were going to see full out battles and stuff, and there's action, but it's more of a journey for Caesar. But anyways, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I really liked it. I probably have it as my third favorite in this franchise, but I really, really enjoyed it. Visually, it's incredible. I believe every scene that I see in this. Like, if this doesn't win Best Visual Effects at the Oscars for 2024, then whatever movie does. I mean, actually, Dune is probably going to be in the running for that as well. But wow, it looks so incredible. The way the apes talk is seamless. It's like when the movie first started and we see the characters climbing, right? And they start, like, at first, I just feel like I'm watching a nature documentary of apes climbing. And then they start talking. And, like, even though I knew they were going to talk, I was still like, whoa. Like, I'm familiar with this franchise. I know they can talk. I was still shocked. And that just shows how realistic they look.
Which is impressive.
Stunning movie.
It's impressive, Jacob, because we've seen it before and we've seen it done to perfection. I mean, Andy Serkis alone is the reason why there's even a talk about, like
a mocap,
motion capture, Oscars, motion capture, which alongside stunt, are two categories that could very well be, within this decade be implemented into
with
the
mocap. There just has to be enough. Like, there's just not enough. But one day there will be, because we're going to get more and more of these mocap roles in the future. I believe.
But to your point, I think that's what makes it so impressive is, we've seen it done before. We've seen it to perfection, but in 2024, we're still in awe, we're still just like, okay, how? Like, the amount of detail into the visual effects, just the facial expressions and, like, these apes, and the fear they have, the uncertainty and all that stuff, man. Like, you are spot on with that. Yeah. So
absolutely. And I really enjoyed it. While I loved visually everything going on, I do think, I don't know how to explain it. The movie dragged a little bit for me in the middle.
Okay.
Dragged a little bit for me. Very quiet, like, for a lot of the movie. It's like subtle, quiet moments, which nothing on it is bad. It's just like, I was like, okay, I get it. They're traveling. Can we get going here?
Pick up the pace a little bit on it,
But amazing characters. I mean, Noah is cool. He's, the hero. Little generic, but he's the hero. I believe his name's Raka, the orangutan.
Yeah.
I love him. And I love Proximus. I wish
Kevin
Proximus
Durant
was in more of the movie. Have you seen those videos of him doing it? Just like acting as Proximus, just as him?
I haven't. I need to watch it.
You have to watch it. Like, the cast was doing interviews, like the one who plays Noah, and then and the human character, and then Kevin Durant, and he goes into character as Proximus, and it's trippy, man. He's so good, and I want a Proximus movie. Like, can we get a prequel just of Proximus's rise and how he built his kingdom and everything? I want that.
HBO Max.
Give me that, because he's incredible. And, like, I love how he's studying history and having whatever. This is a spoiler discussion. I mean,
yeah, we can get into spoilers.
he's having the William H. Macy character basically, you know, I don't know what he is to him, his librarian, his
teacher,
storyteller, whatever, because they can't really read yet. Remember they say the symbols mean something, but so he just kind of has him as like he's essentially a servant or a prisoner in a way.
Yeah,
but he enjoys his life. He's like, look, this is the best it's going to get for me, so I'm just going to chill. And I'm basically like royalty here, like serving the king. So I thought that was hilarious, that dynamic where he's like, tell us a story and make it a funny one. Like, just,
yeah, you heard that too in the background.
Oh yeah, when he walked away from Noah, he's like, and make it funny. Like that's hilarious. I mean, it's a possibility Proximus is still alive. Honestly, possibility. But
that's a pretty big fall. I mean,
yeah,
we saw him fall. We didn't see him die, which is like the rules now in movies. Like,
it's kind of like we didn't see a body in a way. You know what I mean?
I hate what Hollywood has done to us, man.
But either way, I like the way you're thinking. What is this, Warner Bros?
I think it's Legendary Warner Brothers. Let's see.
I don't.
Good. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's 20th Century Studios.
Oh,
so
well,
Disney Plus or Hulu.
Can you imagine a Proximus? That's perfect. Like 8 to 10 episode, just showing Proximus and his rise. I'm all in for that.
They set it up for that to be a possibility because they said generations later. Well, you're not going to do more movies to fill in the generations, especially when you need to go forward. So Hulu series, I mean, it'll be a hefty budget.
Can be in it. You can have other human characters. Like there's a ton of human characters still around in the universe at this point,
as they showed in the end.
I mean, it is what it is. We're talking more about the villain than the hero, but that's how intriguing he was. And I absolutely love when she shoots the other ape and he's like, go, you can go. Just tell me, are there more of those in here?
Yeah.
He's such a good villain.
Yeah. I thought this movie was really good. I'm comparing it to greatness within its own franchise here, which we'll do a quick ranking at the end. But, it's so tough to do a follow-up movie to those, original three, that trilogy and whatnot, and to get this reinvested into this world with a whole new cast of characters. And what I appreciated the most was, in the first act, they took their time. It's a lot of introduction into the world and meeting these new characters and seeing them interact. I mean, those three, it's Noah and I forget the other two characters, but those three apes, they gave me the same sort of, friendship camaraderie as, Spider-Man Homecoming with Peter Parker, Ned, and MJ. That's that by the end of the movie, like that bond was, I compared it to,
I was thinking that bond. The Harry Potter trio too.
Yeah, or the Harry Potter trio. This movie took its time investing into its characters and why they care about each other so much, and the young apes' relationships with the elders. And how the elders, even the good ones, don't tell the full picture. Caesar has a big presence in this movie, even though he's really only in the opening minutes when they show the funeral of Caesar. But still very much a part of this this franchise. You know, the idea of what Caesar wanted. You know, the relationship between apes and humans, and how that's twisted. You know, it's just it really makes you dislike the Proximus character. You know, even though like, you know, he can be a commanding presence on screen. You know, what a wonderful day, and you know, I love the whole look of it. But still, it's just like, ugh, like how dare you twist these words? You know, but they go ahead.
Oh no, I just agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but then they give these apes more, you know, like they're the eagle clan, right? And they have a sacred tradition with these eagles. You know, they take the eggs from the nest, and then they pretty much raise these eagles to, you know, kind of be like companions and, you know, help them through their explorations and whatnot. And there's this whole side arc with the Noah character about him, you know, having to become like he's being tested along the way by the eagle. I forget what the name was, but it's the main eagle, the one that his father had a relationship with.
Son.
Yeah, a bond that has to be earned, and when he does at the end, you know, I'm cheering and I'm going, hell yeah, like he's earned that, you know. And how the Eagles come into play with Noah, who is not as, you know, physically imposing as Proximus. You know, he's no match for him. But, you know, what Noah does at the end of the movie and that chant that he does, like it's, oh man, it's hitting all the right beats, and it's just making you root for Noah. And then like the way the Eagles come into play, and it's just, man, like what a journey that's well earned, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. That the whole ego element, and I forget what they call his father, like I forget, like the bird seer or something like that. It's not that, but he has a title, and I think that Noah will probably try to take that over once they rebuild their community and everything. So yeah, that element was really it created a really good dynamic, like a new element to bring to it. And I really like that. And I like they kind of have to wear like a sleeve on their wrist. So like when the eagles land on their arms and stuff, that was really cool.
Yeah. I like I said, like it's not just introducing another clan of apes and, you know, the hero and whatnot, but like, you know, giving them their own, you know, rite of passage, so to speak. Where the movie really picks up is the introduction of, you know, Proximus's, we'll call it his, what do you call that thing in Star Wars? The guard, the Emperor guard, whatever.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, the guard. Yeah, but when those apes show up, and man, they are so menacing, and you know, it's kind of frightening. You know, just the intensity, and you know how intense that whole scene gets right then and there, and what happens to Noah's clan. Just, you know, it man, it was tough to see, and that's a testament to the writing of this movie and how well it was written. But you know, and then Noah going on this journey, and then like you said, you have the quiet moments too. You know, like most notably with this telescope, you're right there that looks into the stars, and like, you know, what are they looking at? You know, and it's other planets, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And you know, you appreciate those moments. And then of course we do meet a human character along the way who, you know, so I forget her name, but the
actor or the character. I think it's May is the character.
The character's May, right?
I believe so.
The humans, yeah, that's her name, May Nova, or
well, they try to call her Nova at first, and then she's like, "I have a name. It's May."
Right. Not all is as it seems with this character. I mean, she tries to play it off like at first where she can't speak, she's on all four legs, or on the ground with all four crawling, and stuff like that. And you kind of find out that she can in fact talk, she has a name, and there's just so much more to her. She's on a secret mission of her own, and I actually enjoyed her character. It's these movies are very much, the focal point are the apes. Well, we can introduce characters that, I guess, I don't want to say don't overstay their welcome, but don't they they're just characters that are humans that aren't too much. This one I felt like it gave us just the right amount of humans to where it was still very much focused on Noah and his journey and the world that is, the planet of the apes.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you this question, Jacob. Like, is she a protagonist or is she an antagonist? Given what she does in the movie, she does the right thing where she prevents Proximus from getting all the weapons and stuff like that, but she also has her own secret agenda. Yes, she stops Proximus, but she also killed a lot of apes,
mm-hmm.
and probably killed some of Noah's clan.
Yeah, had to.
And then her final meeting, again, we're getting into the spoilers.
Yeah.
Her final meeting with Noah, she's secretly holding on to a gun,
mm-hmm.
as if she's gonna take out Noah.
Well, I think she's just doesn't know if he's gonna attack her or not for what she did.
You think so?
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, some of his clan had to have died, and she knows she kind of knows Noah. He's not a violent ape, but what she did might have been unforgivable. And so who knows? She's just protecting herself, but it depends. All right. In the movies, from the movie's perspective, she's I don't know how to, yeah, she's definitely not a hero. But because the movie is told from Noah's perspective, right? It's told from Noah and the good ape's perspective. So their story, and but we're all humans watching the movie, right? So are we on the human? Who are we rooting for here? Are we rooting for the humans or the apes? So she's doing what's best for humanity to survive. But to Noah, she's one. It's like an adversary, or like an ally that you have to be careful whether or not you can trust them or not. So I wouldn't say she's an antagonist, but
yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess I'm overthinking this, and
very much like a Loki in Thor Ragnarok or something. Yeah, we're kind of working together, but you can't trust him.
Yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way how she was secretly carrying that gun on her back and had her hand on it and ready to
I mean, she's definitely not innocent, but at the same time, can you blame her? She's trying to literally save humankind. So
yeah, but she has a clear picture of who the good apes are and the bad ones are. Noah's no Proximus,
yeah. But I think she knows it doesn't have to be what do they say? I mean, it's that human and apes can coexist. I mean, he tells her that, right? That's what Caesar believed.
Yeah.
So I think that's the goal. I think she's down for that as long as it's not the apes trying to wipe out the humans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. Before we wrap it up here, let's quickly rank these 4 movies. I don't have a tier list because it's 4 movies. But I guess I'll go first. So all these movies, like if we were to do a tier maker, you know how it's S, A, B,
yeah.
C, D, and F or whatever. For me, all these movies are either S or A. My opinion. And if I had to do it, let's just do a ranking from best to worst. There is no best to worst. From best to least best. Number 1 for me would be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Number 2 would be Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Number 3, I almost want to say 2B, would be, I was almost going to say War, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 would be War for the Planet of the Apes. I really like that Colonel character. Played by Woody Harrelson.
The Woody Harrelson character? Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his character.
Who's in Dawn? Is it?
It's Jason Clarke, Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Oh, is Gary Oldman the villain?
Not really.
Or
He was just.
Isn't there a human character who is
No,
like?
the villain's Koba.
Oh yeah, but isn't there a terrible human character in Dawn?
Yeah, but he gets wiped out. He was the one who he kept bringing a gun into the encampment.
Was he not an important character, or am I remembering?
Nah, he was just a hole.
Yeah. My list is very similar to yours, but just a one flip flop.
Okay.
Like I said, I got Rise at number 1.
Okay.
I love the breakdown of and that fight on the Golden Gate Bridge, and Caesar, like just come
in his
breaking
relationship
out,
with James Franco.
Just
yeah.
love all that. So I got Rise number 1.
Okay.
The more we talked about Kingdom, I realized I liked it more than I thought I did. Especially, I feel like if Proximus was in the whole movie, it had the potential to be number 1 maybe. But I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go Rise, Dawn, Kingdom, War. So very similar to yours, but I swap Rise and Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, and to your point about the pacing of it, it's like I was sort of thinking that in the back of my head, like, okay, where is Proximus at? And
no, halfway, it was like an hour into the movie, and I was like,
oh yeah,
where's Proximus? Like, where's the villain?
Yeah.
We haven't seen him at all.
Yeah,
and he's all in the marketing.
Yeah, I'll have to go watch that behind the scenes video of that. Real quick, what do you think what do you think they go next? I mean, I think we're gonna get a more established Noah as the clan leader. Clearly the humans can communicate with each other again.
Oh, the humans that we see at the end are just regular humans.
Oh yeah.
So not all of them were affected by the virus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clearly. I mean, there's no way if those humans are the way we saw them generations later. I mean, that's
They clearly they probably went. Remember how the one was wearing a suit when?
Yes.
She and why don't they let her come inside? Like, do they consider her like infected or something? And she can't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, she wasn't
sure.
invited inside.
I was very confused about that. But anyways, I think they kind of like once everything hell broke loose, they like went underground, like in bunkers or something, and stayed clear of the virus. So there's like different tiers of humans now, which seems like. But yeah, where they go next, I think we will actually. So I don't look. I'm not a Planet of the Apes historian. So like when they're like satellites pointing towards space and they're both looking up at the stars and at the end, like I know there's stuff about like the rocket or the space mission from the first movie that was on the news screen, and then like it's supposed to be the Charlton Heston character that comes back to Earth and doesn't know it's Earth, and it revealed as Planet of the Apes at the end, like some type of connection to that. I don't know if they're going that route, but I do believe that I think there's more ape characters like Proximus out there.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be a problem. And I think there's going to be more humans that see the apes as a problem.
Yeah.
So I do think we're actually will get legit war for the Planet of the Apes, but they'll call it something else. Yeah, I think they'll have to do that. It's going to be survival, and each of these species are going to. Some will believe they can live together. Some will try to wipe each other out, kind of like the mutants and humans in the X-Men thing. So, yeah, I think that's where we're headed. So you think we're gonna get a Noah trilogy?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, only because they talked about 9 movies, which I don't know how realistic that is. I mean, you got to have it mapped out, which I assume they
Like
do have it
9
mapped
movies,
out.
starting with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and then like 3
Yeah,
trilogies
so
basically.
at least that's my understanding. So this is movie number 4 with 5 more to go.
I would guess we'll get then maybe a Noah trilogy, and then that will go from like another many generations later, and we'll get to like the Charlton Heston time, like when the apes have the full out society and stuff.
Yeah, could be, man. Either way, it looks like this franchise is here to stay for several generations. We'll see. 9 movies. But that's going to do it for our discussion for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And actually, that's going to do it for this week's Fandom United Live. Thanks again for tuning in and joining us. We're happy to be back. Again, we are Fandom United, a blockbuster podcast. And, this was definitely a movie that we both recommend and you should definitely see in theaters. Yeah, come back next week. Hang out with us, and we'll continue the discussion. Jacob, thanks again for hanging in there and having a conversation with me. And you can find us at our social media handles on the bottom of your screen. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and that's gonna do it for us. You guys have a safe week, a safe weekend, and until next week, you guys